The exact moment Marlene snipped the internet cable behind my shed, two things happened simultaneously. A low, ominous rumble rolled across the sky as an unmarked military drone zipped overhead and inside my reinforced garden structure. A monitor flashed red with a message I prayed I'd never see. Connection to Pentagon secure feed lost. Initiating security protocol. I froze. Just stood there, paralyzed, watching the screen shift into lockdown mode while a second monitor displayed live security footage of Marlene herself, her smug face front, and center-cutting the thick, military-grade fiber optic line with a pair of garden shears. She smiled like she just cured cancer and tossed the severed cable into her ridiculous pink tote bag like a prize. She had absolutely no idea what she'd just done. This wasn't some run-of-the-mill internet wire. It wasn't even for a home network. She just committed a federal offense on par with disrupting wartime communications. And the reason? She thought the cable was ugly. Let me back up. I live in a modest suburb just outside of Denver, cookie-cutter homes, a decent school district, and unfortunately an HOA headed by a woman who considers herself a hybrid of Martha Stewart and a Cold War dictator. Marlene. No last name. Just Marlene. She insists on it. Thinks Madam President is too formal and hey you is too casual. She's notorious around here for her micromanagement. She once measured everyone's lawns with a ruler. She's written up retirees for wind chimes she considered excessively decorative. She issues violation letters for matte finish mailboxes. She's a menace in a pantsuit with a clipboard holstered like a weapon. Now, I'm not your average suburbanite. I work from home, but I'm no freelance blogger or Etsy mogul. I'm a defense contractor. My home office is more bunker than study-hardened, climate-controlled, and shielded. Under my shed sits one of the Pentagon's secondary signal relays, legal, permitted, and locked tighter than Fort Knox. The cable Marlene cut? It wasn't an eyesore. It was the lifeline to national defense operations. The line was discreet, enclosed, labeled with warnings in 5 languages. But of course, Marlene doesn't believe in labels, laws, or reality. The week prior, she'd begun one of her patrols, stalking the neighborhood with binoculars and snapping photos like she was on safari. I got 3 violation notices taped to my door in Comic Sans, each accusing me of creating an unesthetic obstruction. One even included a grainy photo of the cable which she clearly had to crawl into my bushes to get. I ignored her, assuming she'd find a new fixation, bird feeders or improperly symmetrical flower beds. I was wrong. That Friday, I was deep in a classified call with a Pentagon comms director. We were going over satellite calibration protocols when the secure feed went dark. A sharp beep followed by a screen blackout. Then the dreaded alert. Secure link compromised. I bolted out to the shed, heart pounding. My mind raced: hardware failure? Satellite breach? Raccoon sabotage? What I didn't expect was footage of Marlene snipping the cable like it was an overgrown vine. She even muttered, "This'll teach him to ignore my notices," before strolling away like she'd just slain a dragon. I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. I settled on checking the emergency relay. Nothing. No signal. She hadn't unplugged a device. She'd yanked the heart monitor from a patient mid-surgery. Then my phone rang, scrambled line. I answered with a code phrase. "Feed loss confirmed. Are you secure?" "Negative," I replied. Line was physically severed. Civilian interference. Visual confirmation obtained. Backup inbound. ETA 6 minutes. 6 minutes before my cul-de-sac turned into a restricted zone. By the time I hit the driveway, the first neighbor was peeking from behind a curtain. The hum of engines grew louder, then came the black SUVs, 3 of them, followed by a tan Humvee with no plates and an antenna like something out of a spy movie. They didn't knock. They deployed. My lawn became a tactical staging ground. Marlene appeared from the corner holding a smoothie and a flyer for the upcoming HOA wellness mixer. Her smile died the moment 2 agents approached with badges and asked her to step aside. "I'm the HOA president," she barked. One agent, calm as stone, replied, "Ma'am, please stand over there." I stepped forward. "Marlene, remember the ugly cable you cut?" She sneered. "The illegal wire cluttering the neighborhood?" "That cable," I said, pointing toward the shed, "was a direct uplink to the Department of Defense." She blinked. Once, twice, then laughed. "Please." Like anyone would run military signals through a garden shed. The agent next to me leaned in. Ma'am, interfering with a federal signal is a felony punishable by up to 20 years. I swear she turned pale fast enough to peel her own spray tan. A moment later, another SUV pulled up. A man in a suit stepped out holding a sleek tablet. On screen, a high-ranking Pentagon official confirmed the incident. Civilian interference verified. Initiate containment. Marlene looked from the screen to the squad of agents securing a perimeter to the neighbors now openly recording her with their phones. She whispered, "I just thought it was ugly." Too late. She tried to reclaim control, shouting, "What jurisdiction do you even have here?" That's when Agent Rhea's tactical black uniform steely calm stepped forward with a federal ID and a letter stamped with the DoD seal. "This property is a licensed civilian infrastructure site. You've committed a felony. We have full jurisdiction." Marlene's lips twitched. She pointed at me. "He's been violating HOA policies for months." Agent Monroe, built like a bulldozer, walked up and said in a slow, deliberate voice, "Ma'am, we're going to need you to sit down." She claimed she had immunity. Monroe didn't blink. "Sit." Her husband, Greg, always silent, shuffled outside in a bathrobe, blinking at the federal presence. He hadn't yet been told what Marlene had done. That was about to change. Within minutes, laptops were out, drones launched, and collapsible chairs positioned for interrogation. Greg looked like a man rethinking every decision that had led to this moment. Marlene, meanwhile, gave a dramatic speech about community safety and how she thought I was running illegal surveillance. The agents just took notes. I was brought to a terminal of Pentagon feed restored. A colonel confirmed containment. "This is verified sabotage." The word hung in the air like a thundercloud. Neighbors gathered. Brenda from Lot 9 handed me a lemonade. "So what did she cut?" I sipped. "Live DoD uplink." Her eyes widened. Marlene doubled down, waving printed HOA complaints like they were classified documents. Agent Monroe flipped through one. "You filed a violation for Halloween lights being too bright? They disturbed the aesthetic," she insisted. That's when Reyes whispered, "Run her name. Flag past incidents." A minute later, an agent spoke up. "She's a person of interest from a 2017 HOA complaint in Oregon, misappropriation of funds, minor surveillance violation." Marlene's face dropped. "Those were dropped. Did you also think that cable was a political problem?" an agent asked. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. I handed over documentation footage, audio, logs of her threatening to fine people over window tint, even a clip of her measuring my lawn, muttering about fertilizer. That's when Mr. Franklin strolled over holding a flash drive. "Found this after a board meeting last year." Inside were spreadsheets and emails proving Marlene had been siphoning nuisance fees into a personal account called Community Aesthetic Fund. She bought a $900 grill, a luxury yoga mat, and a spa kit. The agents were stunned. She tried to snatch the drive. Greg finally spoke. "Marlene, stop." It was like a thunderclap. 20 years of silence cracking wide open. They seized her devices. Then it got worse. Reyes handed me a printed report from her laptop. She had surveillance files, she said. Audio, video, timestamps going back 2 years. Bugged mailboxes. Mics under tables. Hidden cameras. I blinked. "That's nuts," I muttered. "No," said Monroe. "That's felony wiretapping." They found cloud accounts under fake names. Files labeled with neighbor names, arguments, keywords. A deeper scan revealed she'd copied Wi-Fi signals filtered for government terms. She wasn't just paranoid, she was methodical. And it hadn't stopped there. Payments to a company clear zone property security. No real record. Reyes looked grim. "They've been flagged by DHS before. Shell contractor. Recruits civilians to watch federal employees." Marlene was no longer just a busybody. She was a possible unwitting asset. "They told me it was for safety," she whispered. "I thought I was helping." Greg muttered, "What the hell did you get us into?" That night, Marlene was detained facing charges of tampering with federal infrastructure, illegal surveillance, and cooperation with illicit security operations. She didn't cry, didn't fight, just climbed into the SUV and vanished. The neighborhood erupted. Whispers turned to stories. News vans parked outside. Headlines blared. HOA president cuts Pentagon cable. Sparks spy scandal. I gave one interview, all I wanted was good internet. By Monday, Marlene was trending. The court arraigned her by Wednesday. Bail denied, flight risk. Greg testified. She'd stopped sleeping, mapped out neighbor activity, kept surveillance journals. A second whistleblower stepped forward. Proof: Marlene forged board signatures, blocked bylaw updates, even faked votes. The judge called it systemic abuse masquerading as community leadership. The HOA collapsed. Frank, the pizza-motivated board member, resigned with a sticky note, "Good luck." The HOA building became a community co-op. BBQs replaced meetings. Marlene's kingdom burned, and from its ashes came something real. The Pentagon upgraded my system: new relay, biometric lock, even a drone dock disguised as a birdhouse. Later, a letter from Marlene arrived, half apology, half rant. I gave it to the feds. She was sentenced to 7 years. No parole before 5. The best part? Her seized funds $160,000 were redistributed. Brenda went to Aruba. Howard built a greenhouse. I donated half to the co-op and installed a backup satellite dish. And her house? A retired Special Forces instructor bought it. First weekend, he held a cookout. "If anyone's spying on me," he said, "they'd better bring night vision and an orthopedic plan." The neighborhood laughed. Too hard, maybe? I was invited to D.C. for a debriefing. They showed me a map, dozens of HOAs under shady surveillance. They asked me to consult. I declined. I just wanted quiet. Before I left, they gave me a ping-old satellite, red dot where the relay used to be. Eyes open. Mouth shut. Maybe a motto. Maybe a warning. I wear it anyway. Now, when people ask if one person can change a neighborhood, I point to the shed and the birdhouse and say, depends who's listening.